I am like God, and God like me. I am as large as God. He is as small as I. He cannot above me, nor I beneath him be.
This is something that's been going viral just in the last few days. AI companies, Anthropic in particular it seems, or as the ones who've been caught out, are bulk buying rare out-of-print books, scanning them through high-speed machines that cut the spines off, and shredding the originals. Anthropic hired the former head of Google Books to obtain all the books in the world. Every single book. This story was originally broken by 404 Media. So let's actually hop over to 404 Media and see how they reported it. AI companies are buying tons of old books because they're free of AI slop, so pre-2022. ISBN DB, a company that sources printed books for AI companies to turn into training data, tells clients the optics problem is real. And to be honest, that actually sounds like the sort of sentence that AI would generate. As AI companies search for more training data to improve their models, one company is offering old, printed books as an ideal source because they're guaranteed to be free of the very AI slop that AI companies are producing. This is actually very distressing, I'll have you know. Not enjoying reporting on this one. Oh, and also 404 Media is behind a paywall, and I haven't paid, so that's what we get. But luckily, plenty of other news outlets have now reported on this. So over at Tom's Hardware. So again, AI companies are reportedly shredding millions of books. No! After using them to train AI models. Tech giants outsource to middlemen to secretly buy up books for training material. As Tom's Hardware say, buy, scan, destroy, repeat.
Why all this negativity?
This is painting AI companies in a not particularly great light, I'll give them that. Having contributed to the growing shortage of memory and storage, AI companies seemingly have a new target in their sights: humanity's literary history. Oof. A recent investigative report from 404 Media and their paywall reveals that these companies are reportedly purchasing millions of second-hand books through intermediaries to source high-quality training data for their AI models, avoiding public backlash, because AI relies on vast amounts of data to advance, but not just any data, it has to be high-quality data. The problem is that mediocre AI-generated content, commonly referred to as AI slop, has proliferated across the internet. Yeah, you just start to recognize it everywhere. All of the AI red flags. This type of content contaminates the data pool and is counterproductive for AI to train on. It's a copy of a copy of a copy. As a result, leading AI companies have turned to human-authored sources for knowledge, specifically print sources that predate 2022 and are more likely to contain original, uncontaminated content. There is precedent for AI companies turning to physical books for training AI. Anthropic, one of the leading AI companies involved in a lawsuit, reportedly invested millions of dollars in extracting information from countless printed books to build its Claude AI models, and then destroying the books. The company bought physical books from Better World Books, though the court decision affirmed that using books for AI training falls under fair use in copyright law, because this is the problem. Anthropic had previously built a repository of 7 million pirated books that infringed the copyrights of authors and publishers. They then faced a staggering for us, $1.5 billion fine, something that they could probably shrug off, to be honest. Similarly, a coalition of publishers recently filed a lawsuit against Google. No, not Google, accusing the tech giant of allegedly and illegally using millions of copyrighted books to develop its Gemini AI models. So enter ISBN DB, an online database that reportedly has over 111 million catalogued books. They've been a long favourite platform for booksellers, libraries and distributors to sell books, and they've since pivoted its business to offer specialised services to bulk purchase books for AI companies. Booksellers on platforms such as Alibri and Biblio have reported spikes in bulk purchases. There is no concrete proof, mind, that ISBN DB or some other AI company is making the purchases, but there are some red flags. Notably, the large-scale purchases only included books with an ISBN. There were no patterns in terms of subject, genre or author. It also appeared that the purchasers disregarded the pricing for the books and just snapped them up at any cost, even if they were overpriced. Anthropic's so-called Project Panama digitalization project confirmed that the AI firm hired several document scanning companies, Datamation being the main one, which offers high-volume name non-destructive and destructive book scanning services. The non-destructive method employs different tools like overhead scanners, flatbed scanners, or V-shaped imaging systems. They're very fast and they don't damage the books. But destructive book scanning services would, as you can probably tell from the name, have destroyed the books. The result of the destruction of millions of books, many of which were rare and out of print. Quite likely that the last few copies of certain books in existence would have actually been shredded as part of this process on behalf of Anthropic or maybe other AI firms. Yeah, printed books represent a treasure trove of information for AI. And for humans. That's the point. We might well wonder, given that there are ways to non-destructively scan these books at scale, why take the destructive approach? Unfortunately, it's down to a legal ruling meant to be in favour of authors and publishers. There was a 2025, not so long ago, 2025 US court ruling in the class action copyright lawsuit Bart's versus Anthropic. In that particular case, the judge ruled that training AI models on pirated digital books was copyright infringement, which resulted in Anthropic paying their $1.5 billion settlement to authors. Happy for the authors who partook in that. I actually didn't. Maybe I missed out on a few shekels there, but whatever. And that this was the unfortunate part. The judge also ruled that if an AI company purchases a legitimate physical book, then digitizes it for an internal database, and then permanently destroys the physical original, this constitutes legal format shifting. In other words, they've shifted the owned copy from physical to digital. By shredding the original physical book, the company ensures that only one legally purchased copy, the new digital one, remains in circulation at a time. And so you see, we just had to destroy all of those rare and out of print physical books. A judge told us to do it. A judge didn't tell them to do it. They had a choice. Besides which, what about backups, where there's only meant to be one copy? Running the digitization process in their cloud servers, a process probably running in parallel. Could they have guaranteed that there's only one digital copy ever in flight? Or is it basically cloned across multiple different servers? It'd be in a database, so is it only on one particular database server? Or is it replicated across multiple clusters and so on? That aspect of it seems to have been maybe rather conveniently overlooked. And the reason I'm banging on about that is because it just undermines the whole one single copy aspect. If in practical terms they have to have multiple digital copies, then the whole thing about you must destroy the physical original suddenly becomes a bit of a shaky premise. This, by the way, at White & Case, was the reporting on the two California district judges who ruled that using books to train AI is fair use, and added that rather crucial little caveat about destroying the physical copies. So training from the books is fair use. The purpose and character of using copyrighted works to train LLMs to generate new text was quintessentially transformative. I kind of agree with that, to be honest. You're using an existing work or group of existing works to create something that is effectively transformed enough from the original that it's new. I've got no problem with that aspect of AI generated writing. There are other parts that I definitely do have a problem with, probably a topic for another video. The judge also found that the extent of Anthropic's copying was necessary for training, and that training did not affect any potential market for the copied books. Library copies? Buying and digitizing books is transformative because every purchased print copy was copied in order to save storage space and to enable searchability as a digital copy. Okay, a digital copy. Lost in the legal translation there, I think. There was no evidence that Anthropic intended to displace sales of electronic book copies. Yeah, it's not why they're buying them. They're not pirating and selling ebooks or anything like that. Pirated library copies. Judge Alsep ruled for the authors, denying summary judgment because Anthropic downloaded millions of copies for free and expects to retain them forever. He found that every factor points against fair use in that case. There was a similar issue, of course, with Meta, where 13 named authors of copied works sued Meta for copyright infringement. So that now is a rather unfortunate legal precedent. Doesn't bode well for physical copies of books. They're suddenly just in the firing line. Elements of Fahrenheit 451 to it. Then on AIweekly.co, the legal ceiling on all of this is Judge William Alsep's ruling in the Anthropic case, which found that buying printed books, cutting the spines for faster scanning, and destroying the paper originals was clearly transformative fair use. That decision gives the whole practice cover. Buy the physical copy, digitize it, dispose of the physical copy, and treat the purchase receipt as the license. Funny enough, the honest caveat, that's an AI red flag if ever there was one, and the honest part of that is a Claude AI red flag. It doesn't bode very well for the future of the creative landscape. If AI-based writing is going to draw more and more from the pre-2022 corpus of printed works, and now steadily unprinted, in effect it's a shrinking pool, or if not shrinking, then static. static? Does this mean that creativity can no longer grow and develop and move on and become new things, which creativity by definition needs to do? Are we facing a future of creative bankruptcy, of just constantly spun out stories and so forth from the same set of books? This is also why it's so important that human authors keep on writing without resorting to getting an AI to write some or all of the text for them. And that's that, really. I'm a little bit depressed about this one, if I'm totally honest about it. So what's going on? Is it a storm in a teacup? Do you think that outrage about this is justified, or is it just fake outrage in a world of increasingly outrageous things that we all just grow to accept? Let me know in the comments. I'll try and make the next video a bit more upbeat. Thanks so much for watching, and catch you in the next one. Bye!